If you're making too many unforced errors on your one-handed backhand, I'm going to help you with that in this video because I'm going to be explaining 3 simple but crucial things that you can work on to dramatically reduce the amount of unforced errors. The first one is going to be developing more discipline in the shots that you're going for. So basically making sure that you're not going for unrealistic shots. Now, a lot of the time this is players just trying to hit it too hard, and obviously when you try and hit it too hard, the chances of you making a mistake goes up. So it's just a case of dialing it back and really focusing on being more consistent with your stroke. But then it's also about the level of difficulty of the shot that you're trying to hit. You know, ball gets hit deep, trying to step in and take it on the rise like Federer is unrealistic for most people. Likewise, trying to take the ball up there, it's a very challenging shot that tends to only happen at much higher levels of the game. So you have to recognize that, and you have to have the discipline not to go for those sort of shots, because if you go for them, the chances of you making a mistake is too high. So you need to go for shots that you have a much higher likelihood of making. The second thing that you're going to need to focus on is your preparation and movement to the ball. After going for crazy shots, the next reason that players make too many unforced errors is they're simply out of position. And if you're not set up in the right position, it's very hard to hit a good quality of shot. We can get away with a lot of stuff on the forehand, or if you had a two-handed backhand, but your positioning is so important for the one-hander, so you probably need to spend a little bit of time focusing more on the preparation side of things. And as the ball's coming towards you, firstly, it's about preparing quickly, but then it's going to be all about your footwork and your spacing. And there's really 2 things that you've got to focus on. Number 1 is your spacing this distance from the ball. So I don't want to be too close. If I'm too close, I'm going to get jammed. It's going to throw the mechanics off. It's going to increase the likelihood that I'll miss. If I'm too far away from the ball, I'll be reaching. Again, I'm more likely to make an unforced error. So we've got to be the right distance for the ball, from the ball, and you've got to be thinking about that as you're moving towards the ball. But then we've also got how deep or short the ball is going, because a lot of players struggle there as well. We've already said it's hard to take the ball on the rise and it's hard to take the ball up there. So we've got to reflect that in our preparation and movement, and making sure that we're moving forwards or moving back to allow the ball to drop into a more comfortable position. Normally moving forwards is a little bit easier, but a lot of players struggle with this movement backwards. But it's crucial. The ball's going to bounce, it's going to come up, it's going to drop, and ideally we're going to take it between knee and waist height, and that's going to make the biomechanics much easier and dramatically reduce the amount of unforced errors you make. So it's a case of spending a little bit of time working on the footwork side of things. To help you with that, I've got a couple of videos on YouTube. I will leave links to those down in the description so that you can check those out. The next thing that you definitely need to focus on is watching the ball as well as you can through to contact. Trying to keep your eyes and your nose and your head lined up with that contact point for a moment or 2 after you've made contact. A lot of mistakes happen because players lose focus and they lift their head too soon, and because of that they miss hit and they shank the ball. It is absolutely essential to try and watch the ball as efficiently as you can. Now, unfortunately, this can be quite challenging to do. Firstly, it's about the focus and concentration. You have to have a lot of discipline when you're doing this. Potentially, there's a number of different things that you might need to work on to improve within your technique, and you might get distracted by those. And because of that, you're thinking about this, then this, and then by the time it comes to hitting the shot, you've completely forgotten that you were meant to be watching the ball. You have to forget a lot of the other stuff and just focusing on watching the ball, because ultimately that's the thing that's going to allow you to control the angle of the racket face and reduce the number of unforced errors you make. So that's part of the solution. The other part is, unfortunately, there are a lot of visual requirements for ball tracking, and most players' visual systems simply don't function well enough to allow them to track the ball efficiently. It's one of the big things that holds players back. The good news though is you can actually train and improve your visual function, and by doing that it's really going to help with the ball tracking and help you to cut down on unforced errors on your one-handed backhand. So to help you with that, I've created a free program to show you a series of drills to start to train your eye movements and your visual system. If you would like to work on this, I'll place a link up there and I'll place a link down in the description. Click on either of those links, it'll take you over to a different page, enter your details there, and I will send you this free vision program. Okay, so that's it. 3 things to focus on. Discipline, not going for too much, working on your preparation and your footwork and trying to make sure you're set up in better positions, and then watching the ball through to contact. If you implement those 3 things, it can help you to cut down on your unforced errors very quickly.